Can you name one incident in Bihar which has taken this coverage in the last 20 years, 30 years?
I don't remember.
और आप बताइए कि ये फैक्ट है कि नहीं कि सेंटर स्प्रेड पूरा फोटोग्राफ्स था, फर्स्ट पेज 8 कॉलम था. ये if I want something related to me to be given this coverage, how much should it cost me?
Too much.
6-7 channels, 6 hours का coverage है. The ones which require attention or will demand attention are like, in fact, I'll take you back to a very early period, even before this concept of speedy trial in me came up. I used to be SP Nalanda. I do not know why bootlegging has been made such a big issue, and the state government goes after it saying, do this, you have to be very firm on bootlegging. शराब बंदी जो हम कह रहे हैं. I do not have much of an idea because this came much after I left the job, retired. So, but when I was there and this law was not there, not that everything was hunky-dory.
Welcome to the show. I am Chief Pujan Jha and we have got a very distinguished guest today in our studio, Mr. Abhyanand. Welcome to our studio, sir. And obviously, the first question is bound to be to the ex-DGP of the state. Well, the present dispensation is the same as was in the year 2005 to 2010. That was a time when it was widely being spoken that finally Nitish Kumar has managed to rein in the criminal elements and the so-called jungle rule. It was completely marginalized at that point in time. Once again, the talks doing the round that what has happened to the state. Why is it that we find that there has been a spurt in heinous cases primarily in the state in the recent times? What exactly is the difference?
Well, it starts from a small conversation that I had with the present Chief Minister when he became the Chief Minister in November 2005. He summoned me, I was an ADG then, and asked me after he took over, immediately almost, after he took over as the Chief Minister of Bihar. The question was, is there any way in which crime can be checked? Jungle Raj ka khatma ho sakta hai? I said, yes, bilkul ho sakta hai.
Okay.
And then his immediate reaction was, पुलिस का रुतबा बहाल करवा दीजिए and crime can be checked. I am willing to give you any law that you want, any amount of money that you want. To which my very cool reaction was, पुलिस का रुतबा और वर्दी की गुंडागर्दी में बहुत अंतर नहीं होता है. जहाँ तक सवाल है लॉ का या पैसा का, I said, at the moment I don't need either. हमको कोई नल नाला पुलिया नहीं बनाना है, सड़क नहीं बनाना है, ठेका नहीं देना है. And yet there are ways and means of checking crime. So he was like, कानून आपको और कोई जरूरत हो तो बताइए।
सख्त कानून हो,
सख्त कानून,
which is often
सब
repeated.
पावर्स
हम्म,
आपको दिया जा सकता है। तो ऐसे वो भी जरूरत नहीं है, इसलिए कि पार्लियामेंट और असेंबली ने कानून की किताबों का अंबार लगा दिया है। अब एज एन IPS ऑफिसर, एज एन ADG of this state, it is my job to apply my mind to those laws and to the situation that we are in, and see how these laws can operate to bring the situation under control.
Okay. So what was the first step that you took in that direction, sir?
First step was not that I got it in a flash suddenly, but right from the beginning, as an ASP and under training, when I was under training in the district called Ranchi, now in Jharkhand,
Yeah.
I could realize that crime is not for fun. Criminals don't commit crime for fun. They do it for money. So can we somehow disarm these criminals through confiscating their property?
Okay.
And you will realize that all along police has been given powers to arrest criminals, but not to confiscate their property. जिसको हम जब्ती कुर्की कहते हैं, वो confiscation नहीं है. That is only a means of applying pressure to a criminal, on a criminal, to make him surrender. The moment he surrenders, the property goes back to him.
Okay.
So it is not confiscation. So I kept wondering as a young policeman, can we not confiscate property? He is not doing it for fun. He is earning money out of this crime, except a few crimes of passion.
Or some maybe sporadic, isolated cases can be
accidentals. So when I started mulling over it, I could feel that if we can somehow confiscate the property that they have acquired through crime,
okay,
it will be a disincentive for the criminals. As a junior officer, I couldn't do much, but this thought had worked with me for quite a long time.
Okay.
So when I got so-called authority through the Chief Minister, I asked him, Sir, can we not apply PMLA in our state? PMLA was an act, you would realize, or is an act which got passed through the Parliament, Government of India, not the state government. The state police, no state police was given any powers to execute the law of Prevention of Money Laundering Act.
Okay.
It was given to the central agency called ED. And it was rankling in my mind as to why can't PMLA be given to the state police to apply it in their state. And I discussed with this with the Chief Minister.
Okay.
And he said, as a police IPS officer, you are trying to tell me what is the legal legislative competence of a state assembly. I said, sir, not that I am an expert, but I have also read through it. And I have a feeling that there is a certain area in the concurrent list which can be applied, and something near PMLA can be devised. And I said, sir, even if it overreaches, then the Supreme Court will declare it ultra vires.
Yeah.
But let us try. Why can't we try it? We had talked to the Advocate General. He said, if your intentions are okay, fine, then we can defend it. But it never happened.
It was not challenged.
No, the act was not passed.
It was not passed at all. Okay.
So I do not know why, although, as I have told you in my conversation, in the first meeting, he had said, if you want laws, we can give you laws. This I wanted at a later date in around 2011-12. So I said, something like PMLA can be, even if the word can be contrived, can we contrive an act? And then look ahead. Maybe the Supreme Court will say, if it is being done with good intentions, let it be there. It never happened. I mean, the act didn't occur. So I started with an alternative. I said, PMLA, Enforcement Directorate. I contacted the Director of Enforcement, ED at Delhi, some IAS officer from Madhya Pradesh cadre.
Okay.
And he was like, you are the first DG police of a state who has come to us with this type of request. I said, we will be the complainant. There are criminals who have gathered property like anything.
Amassed wealth.
Amassed wealth. I will be the complainant. I'll give you details. I'll give you the case numbers. And I'll submit a report.
Okay.
Can you go ahead with the act and confiscate their property since you have the power? And it got started.
Great.
This got started.
Yeah.
But not my effort of getting a law passed similar to PMLA. I know I was working in a...
But you circumvented the hiccups which
this
existed.
Was one of...
One thing more, sir. Between 2005 to 2010, there was also a phase when I was working as a crime reporter in Delhi, and we started getting this feedback, repeated news items doing the round from Bihar of criminals, hardened criminals being on the run. And if I remember the data correctly, within a couple of months, more than 88,000 hardened criminals, they were rounded up, put behind bars. There was also this speedy trial which was put into place. It appeared more or less that the entire state machinery and the mechanism was directed to ensure that there is rule of law in the state. Couple of anecdotes you'd like to share on that?
Well, yes, there are many. The ones which require attention or will demand attention are like, in fact, I'll take you back to a very early period, even before this concept of speedy trial in me came up. I used to be SP Nalanda.
Okay.
I'm taking you back to the SP days. And
roughly which year?
Roughly 88, 89.
Okay.
No Jungle Raj, no nothing.
Yes. Jungle Raj was, I think it was coined in 1997.
Yeah.
High Court observation of a judge.
Yeah. So I was doing some work in my office around 11 o'clock when my SHO, local town SHO, he rang up कि सर एक रंगदारी में गोली लगी है एक आदमी को. I brought him to the hospital, but he is almost dead. Gasp कर रहा है. And ये रंगदारी के लिए हुआ है. There was a demand of rangdari. And he was shot at. He was gasping. I said, I'm coming to the hospital. Just hold on, हम तुरंत पहुंच रहे हैं. When I went there, the officer had very diligently recorded the dying declaration.
Yeah.
His FIR was a dying declaration,
Yeah.
and he died after that. So I told the officer कि जल्दी जाके FIR दर्ज करो, and I'll be in the CGM's office. I'll go straight to the CGM's office. You come with the FIR to the CGM, which is a very unusual step. I did not go to the place of occurrence. I went to the CGM's office. CGM was only
Prompt action, immediate action.
CGM क्या?
Directly.
Immediate action is like go to the place of occurrence. वहाँ भीड़ लगी हुई है, थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम भी है. But I decided to go to the CGM's office, and CGM was the typical word that they use in Bihar, ijlas पर थे. He was.
What does that mean, sir?
Ijlas is the chair on which he sits.
Okay.
The judge sits, and the court is on. So he saw me through the gate, and then he beckoned to me. He said, मतलब आप मेरे रूम में चले जाइए, चेम्बर में चले जाइए. I went there and he immediately got down and says, आप इतना परेशान क्यों लग रहे हैं? I said, एक मर्डर हो गया है. तो इसमें हम क्या कर सकते हैं आपके लिए? Which is a very obvious question. I said, हमको जब्ती कुर्की चाहिए.
Okay, so you initiated it 89, you said.
जब्ती कुर्की नहीं मिलता है जल्दी, हालांकि एक प्रोविजन है. आई यूज दैट प्रोविजन. आई टुक द जब्ती कुर्की and then went to the place of occurrence.
Okay.
And then I told them, whatever formality I had to do, I did that. I said, हाजिर कराओ, नहीं तो अब जब्ती कुर्की करेंगे. People said, जब्ती कुर्की आप अभी मर्डर ही हुआ है.
That is something unheard of. Yeah.
And then I took out the paper. They saw it and immediately surrendered.
Okay.
उसका ट्रायल हमने कराया. I think within 20-25 days, आजीवन कारावास.
Okay, conviction took place in that particular case. I think you followed it from primarily, if I can remember correctly, 2005 to 2010. This was being pursued religiously.
ऐसा है ना कि
and it had a very cascading effect.
This concept of speedy trial had taken place in my mind in the year 1988-89.
Okay.
As long back as that. And it kept running into my mind. So, not that this came overnight, but it was lying dormant.
Okay.
Because most of the time after that, I was not posted in field postings. I was given charges like DIG, BMP, or some sort
often
of
referred as shunting posting.
Yeah, that's typically called a shunting post. But then this concept कि ये if trial is conducted at blitzkrieg speed, then the criminals get shaken. By the time they gear up and try to find out their escape and contact somebody who is close to the SP or do some parley with the ministers, by the time he is convicted.
Okay. You find any similarity, because there is often this discussion about our neighboring state Uttar Pradesh where bulldozer justice is being delivered every now and then. You think that does have much wider ramifications, and the result is quite evident?
This has been going on in UP for quite some time, and they're trying to get it in Bihar for quite some time now.
Okay.
It's a personal belief, and I don't believe in it.
Okay. And in the recent times, we also saw primarily there was very strong statement coming from our Deputy Chief Minister and Samrat Chaudhary, and categorically said that we have taken it like a challenge after the murder of Khemka. And we saw that in the recent times, some reports doing the round that the criminals are now being targeted and they're even being shot at. A couple of encounters taking place. You think that this does have an impact in dampening the so-called, say, the spirit of the criminals?
I've heard of this also, as you may have seen it on the mobiles,
Yeah.
social media. I too have heard of this. There is a question which comes to my mind. If the top legislators, like the deputy CMs, believe in this, why don't they get it passed as an act in the assembly?
Yes.
And it's a policy. Police has full powers to kill. Get it passed. Put it as an act. So if the police kills, the police can say, yes, I had the authority, so I did it.
Like in some troubled areas, you have got AFSPA.
In whichever way you can put it as an act. I'll tell you an anecdote. There was a small party in the house of an IAS officer. People had gathered in the evening. I was also there. Sitting alongside was, I wouldn't name him. He is an MP right now. He was an MLA then, young man. And he was very authoritatively saying, पुलिस का रुतबा होता है जब क्रिमिनल्स को एकदम मार के खत्म कर दिया जाता है.
Okay.
And he was acting that way also. I heard this and very quietly I said, do you really believe in it? He said, हाँ. I said, अभी तो आप MLA भी हैं, एक प्राइवेट बिल ले आइए और कहिए कि पुलिस को ये पावर असेंबली दे कि मार दिया जाए. बोले हमको हारना है क्या है?
Okay. Now, sir, I need to also understand from you, because you saw the phase, approximately 15 years of phase of what is often being described as Jungle Raj. And then you also saw that turning point in Bihar, wherein Nitish Kumar earns that repute of being Sushashan Babu. And definitely I feel that that was a phase from 2005 to 2010 primarily, when the rule of law was established in the state. What was so different in the style of policing? Was it the political lack of will in the previous regime and it changed significantly from 2005 to 2010?
Lack of political will, I will not be able to answer.
Okay.
Because that is some for the chief minister and the ministers who mattered to answer, whether they had the will or they did not. But I can tell you one thing. The principle was, and it was absolutely accepted principle of state policy, जो भी होगा कानून से होगा, कानून के बाहर कुछ नहीं होगा.
Okay, there was no interference in the regime of Nitish Kumar.
I won't call it interference. It was an acceptance. आप हमको set of laws दिए हैं. What is my weapon? When I say my, I am saying police. What is my weapon? My weapon is set of laws that you make and hand over to us. Now, how do I use these weapons is my creation of mind.
And your prerogative as well.
Prerogative may not be the best word, but I'll use the word the way I use. For example, I'm given a particular aircraft, jet fighter. How I will
operate it.
operate the jet fighter is my profession.
Okay.
And you can't come and tell me इसको आप ऐसे घुमा के चलाइए उसको वैसे घुमा के चलाइए. You can't do that because I am a professional.
This did take place between 1990 to 2005. This was the style of functioning
Not
of the government.
1990, 2005. I gave you this in my first answer.
Okay.
I said जो भी होगा वो कानून से होगा. कानून को हम कैसे प्रयोग करेंगे उपयोग करेंगे, which कानून I'll use which when in which situation is my अकल. And that is what I'm paid for. And nobody can say गोली चला दीजिए. जहाँ गोली चलानी होगी वहाँ अपने आप चलेगी गोली.
Now, sir, if we get into the diagnostic mode a bit, definitely the opposition is crying hoarse. The opposition is training all its guns against Nitish Kumar. What do you think are the lapses in the present? Why is it that when a police team goes out for raid, primarily looking for the bootleggers, they are under attack? Why is it that vehicles are being stopped for checking and they have that kind of courage to ram their vehicle on a police post and run it over the policemen? Why is it that so many heinous cases are repeatedly taking place? What has gone wrong in the state?
I do not know why bootlegging has been made such a big issue, and the state government goes after it saying, do this, you have to be very firm on bootlegging. शराब बंदी जो हम कह रहे हैं. I do not have much of an idea because this came much after I left the job. Retired. So, but when I was there and this law was not there, not that everything was hunky-dory. शराबबंदी के कानून के बावजूद उस समय नहीं था, and then huge tragedies back to back would happen.
Okay. Even when the ban was not in force.
Even when I was there and the law was not there.
Okay.
So the chief minister had obviously asked me कि देख रहे हैं क्या हो रहा है. I said yes, and excise act आपके पास एक ही law है. I used to keep looking around for laws to operate so that I could pin it down. तो क्या करना होगा? I said, let me do it. And then I reinterpreted the whole act in such a way that it became an economic offense.
Okay.
I wouldn't like to discuss how I did it, but I did it and applied my law. It became an economic offense, 420, 467. So I approached it like that. With this money, the black money that was generated, I went to ED and ED took action.
Your trusted formula again comes into picture. Yes.
But then I had to apply my mind, and I can tell you that the chief minister was like, आप मेरे साथ चलिए पूरे स्टेट में घूमे, डीएम लोगों को जरा समझाइए. ऐसे ठीक है चलिए, आपको भाषण देना होगा तो भाषण देंगे.
Now, sir, if I'm supposed to understand it from a primarily layman's perspective, what I see, I enter the state, all of a sudden your vehicle is stopped, it is thoroughly checked, and there is so much of enthusiasm I find primarily among the cops to go in search for one bottle or two bottles, maybe a couple of bottles in your vehicle. The same kind of enthusiasm I find lacking when it comes to patrolling, when it comes to crime control. I mean, just erecting the road blockades, checking on the criminals. You think that since there is easy money in the earlier proposition, that is the reason why the police, they seem to be diverted from the core field where they need to be into areas where possibly money minting is easy.
I told you earlier in my replies that I haven't seen the Sharab Bandi Kanun being implemented and what impact it has on the police.
Okay.
I've heard people talking like in the media, but I won't like to comment because I haven't seen this functioning, and I haven't really gone into what has it impacted the functioning of the police. But one thing is certain: police is basically an investigative agency. You cannot undo it. Police is basically an investigative agency, whether you have this act or you don't have this act. And every cognizable offense, the standard of investigation has to be kept high.
Okay. Now I remember that almost Patna, Tuara, and various other places, it was almost burning subsequent to in the aftermath of the murder of Brahmeshwar Mukhya. And it was really an uphill task for you to handle that kind of situation. Any anecdote from that, how you handle it? Because the kind of mob frenzy which was there at that point in time, it was extremely difficult to control it. Anything for our viewers you would like to share?
I've shared it a number of times.
Yeah.
I'll share it very briefly with you also. My information with the crowd said they are armed and heavily armed with the number of vehicles that were there. The vehicles all had weapons with them. And I knew that one miscalculated adventure by the police, the situation would have been firing from both sides on the Bailey Road, dead bodies, and then within 15 minutes there would be news from all over the state. यहाँ उनका घर गांव में जला दिया गया, इनका घर ऐसा हो गया. I knew the consequences. And I also knew that if I can hold myself till the body is put on the pyre. Because if I had taken all the typical steps that the police takes, they would have left the body and run away.
Okay.
And I would have been left with a chaos all over the state with a dead body on the Bailey Road. Who would have got it completed? So I just held my breath. And it's like, I'll tell you a parallel. You go to a doctor and he diagnoses you with a appendix situation, appendicitis. Now, the disease is treated with an appendectomy operation. Every surgeon knows it. But every surgeon will see the situation and decide when to do the appendectomy.
Okay.
And that's a very good example.
Yes, that is good.
Every
Fits in
surgeon
perfectly,
knows
yes.
how to do it. You put a policeman and say, Maro. But what after that? And immediately after that, I could see what was happening. And now, in fact, I have asked this to journalists also. आप भी journalist हैं, I can ask you this question. Do you remember the newspapers the next day after the Bailey Road episode?
Yeah, it was widely being discussed at that point in time that there could have been a conflagration-like situation, but you people handled it
The
differently.
newspaper, first page, 8 columns,
Banner
all
headline.
newspapers, banner headline, all newspapers, everything dedicated to this channel, this episode.
This news.
Center spread, editorial was out, only pictures on the center spread. Right? What is the cost? And second question, can you name one incident in Bihar which has taken this coverage in the last 20 years, 30 years?
I don't remember.
और आप बताइए कि ये फैक्ट है कि नहीं कि सेंटर स्प्रेड पूरा फोटोग्राफ्स था, फर्स्ट पेज 8 कॉलम था. ये if I want something related to me to be given this coverage, how much should it cost me?
Too much.
6-7 channels, 6 hours का कवरेज है. क्या कॉस्ट लगेगा?
बहुत ज़्यादा. अगर एडिटोरियल होगा तो बहुत ज़्यादा कॉस्ट आएगा, तो सेकंड्स में काउंट होता है.
ब्रह्मेश्वर मुखिया was no big deal as a human being. पूरा क्राइम से भरा हुआ बैकग्राउंड है. His dead body procession is going on. किसने खर्च किया था ये?
आप ही प्रकाश डालें.
Why should I?
Okay. Now, I definitely wanted to put a couple of different questions to you. There is yet another trait of Abhyanand ji, and I think more than policing, it is that particular trait of yours as an educationist, the way you have been inspiring generations, which is doing the round, which has earned a global repute, and you have done a human service in that. I need to understand from you, because whatever little information I have, there was a phase wherein you tried to nurture Anand Kumar. This concept of Super 30 was floated, and you rallied your complete support for the same. What transpired later on?
It's true that the two persons started off together. Right? Year 2002 it started off. 2005, when this government came and they decided to give me this responsibility. Thereafter, I was seriously engaged in my professional work. I didn't have much time. 2006, I somehow started sensing that for him, it was not a passion, it was a profession.
Okay.
His family depended on the income. Ramanujam School of Mathematics. And for me, it was a passion. I was in a good service, I was getting my salary and perks, and I didn't need anything from that activity. So, passion and profession going together was not possible.
Okay.
And I could see fissures. Certain informations were being given, certain was withheld. So I talked to him, I said, तुम्हारा profession है, your bread and butter, carry on. It was my passion, so I'll carry on in my own way. In fact, I stopped doing any teaching work till people from other sectors came over and talked to me, said कि आपने दूसरों को पढ़ाया तो हम लोगों को भी पढ़ा दीजिए. और इस तरह से चलने लगा तो कई सुपर 30 हो गए. So it was basically a conflict between passion and profession.
Okay. And what about all those lofty claims being made by the other side of 30 success among 30? We have often been questioning as journalists. We have often been questioning. I remember having, he was called at CNIBN.
I gave you
award.
An indication that फिशर्स क्रिएट हो रहे थे.
Okay.
And I told you that I did not have much time to get into the Super 30 was not my activity. I was a professional IPS policeman. I had to devote 99% of my time there. Teaching was my passion. And then bloating up Super 30, I was not interested. When this started happening, I said, thank you.
You were averse to the commercial part of it. Now, one anecdote which I remember, because I happened to be from a place where your policing was widely being talked about. I happened to be from Bhagalpur. There was some incident, I think, in the NTPC area. Single-handedly, if I remember correctly, you walked up to the mob and the entire, that deep-rooted anger, it just melted down. They just had a sight of Abhyanand, an educationist and not a police official at that point in time. Were you able to recall that?
Yeah, very much.
I remember that.
अभी भी कहलगांव में is so many years, decades हो गए. People still talk about it.
They do.
10,000 का मॉब था करीब.
Okay.
गांगुली मैदान में, कहलगांव में. एंड एसपी को फांसी दो, डीएम को फांसी दो, पुलिस फायरिंग एंड व्हाट नॉट. एंड आई वाज एयरलिफ्टेड. आई वाज टोल्ड बाय द सीएम, हेलीकॉप्टर है, चले जाइए. आई हैड नथिंग विथ मी, नो वेपन, नो नथिंग. And I could walk into that crowd. So agitated.
You were in your uniform?
No.
Plain. But people recognized you.
I had to tell them. My first sentence was, मेरा नाम अभयानंद है, मैं पटने से आया हूँ आपसे बात करने के लिए.
Okay.
And then it started. धीरे धीरे करके लोग थोड़ा शांत होने लगे. करीब 4 घंटे तक एक माइक लगा दिया गया. एंड वी टुक आवर माइक टर्न्स बाय टर्न. उनका नेता बोल रहा है, फिर हम बोल रहे हैं, फिर वो बोल रहा है. इससे
सिर्फ संवाद से वो स्थिति आपने वो नियंत्रित कर डाला. एंड सी योर the background of an academician that also came to play. It played the
it did. In fact, when they declared the whole thing as over,
okay,
this was around 11 in the night, and I started walking back to the police station, which is about 3 kilometers from this place. So there was a group of young lads. They surrounded me and they said, in their own language, चलिए सर हुआ के अरिया देता नहीं. I said, चलिए. तो एक बोलता है उसमें से कि सर गलत समय में आप आ गए, थोड़ा बढ़िया समय में आते तो हम लोग पढ़ने का भी बात करते. देखिए,
बहुत बड़ी बात कही आपने. Before sir, I allow you to go, I'd like you to, in a nutshell, give that motivational statement of yours that because lots of young people, they watch our channel. What is the key to success? I mean, often we get saddened by reports that person goes to Kota or various other places, gets into the depression mode, and several suicidal cases get reported. Can it be stopped?
भेड़ चाल में मत आइए. वो चाहे आईआईटी के लिए हो, नीट के लिए हो या यूपीएससी के लिए हो, ये भेड़ चाल अच्छी चीज नहीं है. अपने को एसेस कर लीजिए कि आप उस लायक हैं कि नहीं, और अगर लायक हैं तो फुल एफर्ट दीजिए. कोई ऐसा मेंटर हो जो आपको बता सके कि इट इज देयर इन यू, यू कैन डू इट. अगर आप नहीं कर सकते हैं तो बी very cool and say, नहीं, I don't think I have this in me, I'll do something else. क्योंकि उसमें पैसा और टाइम नहीं दिया जा सकता.
पेरेंटिंग की भी यहाँ पर बहुत अहम भूमिका होगी सर, क्योंकि पेरेंट्स के प्रेशर में बच्चे जो है, मेरे अपने बच्चे की उसको मैथ्स और ये नहीं पढ़ना था। तो मैंने कहा बिल्कुल मत पढ़ाई करो, अपना स्ट्रीम जो पसंद है वो उसने चुना। तो ये
बिल्कुल।
पेरेंट्स का दबाव कितना काम करता है?
पेरेंट्स एंड पीयर ग्रुप्स। मेरे पेरेंट अगर नहीं यूपीएससी कंप्लीट किए थे तो मेरा बेटा कर लेगा, as if this is a compensation, नहीं करना चाहिए।
और ये भी क्या जरूरी है 12 घंटे 13 घंटे एकदम बिल्कुल रट्टा मारते रहो?
अगर आप में कैपेसिटी है करने की, बट देयर शुड बी समबडी हु कैन टेल यू। जैसे हमको 10th पास लड़का मिल जाए, 1-1.5 घंटा हम बात करके बता देंगे कि उसका होना है कि नहीं होना है।
ओके।
लेकिन यहाँ कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट कर क्या रहे हैं कि जो आ रहा है उसका एडमिशन ले लेंगे, उनको पैसा मिलना है।
पैसा मिलना है, बिल्कुल।
दैट शुड नॉट बी डन।
चलिए सर, आप हमारे स्टूडियो में, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। तो ये थे अभयानंद जी, और जिस तरीके से बेबाकी से अपनी बातों को इन्होंने रखा, मुझे लगता है जाहिर तौर पर आप भी लाभान्वित होंगे उसके। थैंक्स फॉर ज्वाइनिंग विद अस सर। मीनवाइल मैं मेक अ रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल ऑफ यू, अगर अभी तक आपने इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज़ लाइक और सब्सक्राइब जरूर कर लें। थैंक्स सो मच।